guys, Damien here with MMORPG.com, and we're back with the NZXT Starter Pro Build Kit. And I've got my good friend Ben here. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, So Ben, you have, over the last couple of months, been very interested in building a PC, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
But you ran into a little bit of an issue when you were starting to gather parts for that.
Can't get a graphics card.
Can't get a graphics card. Okay, so you ended up going the pre-built route.
Yes.
For getting yourself a gaming PC. Well, gaming and work PC, right. But my guy here does some web design, some video editing, and stuff like that. So definitely need that power.
Yes.
To be able to do the thing. So. Ben and I worked together in taking his pre-build that he got and doing the updates that he wanted with them, but he never got the experience to build for himself. And so when NZXT had approached us about the build kit, I was very excited about this because I wanted to give my friend the opportunity to build. Now, Ben, I'm going to do something. I'm going to pull something out that was not in the box here the other day because we're going to pull out the good book. Because I want you to hand on the Bible here,
which one?
My dude. I believe it's left hand. Yep, left hand, right hand over your heart. Do you swear that you have never built a PC before?
I swear that I've never built a PC before.
You saw it, folks. You saw it. This guy has never built a PC before. However, you have built some other things, though. So you're a little bit mechanically minded.
Yes, I've rebuilt 2 cars.
You've rebuilt 2 cars. What kind of cars have you rebuilt?
Had a 86 Mustang and a 1982 Mercury Capri.
Okay. So Mustang, Capri, loves the ponies.
Yeah.
So this is very different than a Mustang. We're going to go ahead and get started, though. There is a sealed letter there that we did not open when we did the unboxing because I wanted you to have the privilege of opening this letter and seeing what's going on with this thing.
Let's hope I don't rip it.
Well, if there's as much adhesive on it as the envelope. All right, so what do we have here?
We have an Adventurers Wanted, a building expedition.
Woo!
Thank you for embarking on this PC building journey with us. We're excited to get you started. Contained within these boxes is everything you need to build a PC. Components, a checklist, a tool guide, or toolkit, and a guide. We suggest that starting with the Adventurer's Map for PC Building book. It will guide you through every step of the building process, including providing QR codes that will lead you to online videos and support. The Adventurer's Map may seem lengthy, but not every page will be relevant to your build. PC building is a fun and rewarding activity, and we will be with you at every step. At the end of your journey, you'll be rewarded with an incredible treasure, the joy of having built your own gaming PC. Prepare yourself for adventure awaits.
That's pretty awesome. You guys, if you watch the unboxing video, one of the things that I really appreciated about this situation is that NZXT really put a lot of extra special care into putting this entire package together. Everything from the Adventurers book down to the map here that we have to work with. There's also on the other side, and I didn't even see this. There is an artifacts pieces. So this is like all of the things that you will need to get going, and all of it's here on the table. So let's go ahead and let's dive in.
Number 1 thing, zip ties.
Yes, number 1 thing, always have more zip ties than you think that you're going to need for this project, because we got to cable manage, right? Yep. Cable management is a big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Adventurers Map here.
All right,
and we'll go ahead and do this. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty thick boy there.
Nice, good pages too.
Yes, the quality of the book is really nice. Like I said, they really put some nice touches into this. All right, so the quest, building your very own PC. All right, so the new challenge has appeared. You have discovered an ancient ruins of a lost civilization. Inside these ruins, you've unearthed functioning PC parts. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to travel through, collect these essential parts, and assemble them into a working gaming PC. This guide will help you on your quest. A noble quest indeed. All right, so
Part identifiers.
So we got the part identifiers. So there are letters associated with each of the parts. The map here has those letters, and each one of the components on their boxes, the parts are there. So A is the motherboard here. We've got that thing going on here. B, C, D, sensitive parts in here. And then we've got F. G is, I believe, the case. And we left the case box in the hallways just to get it out of the. So we didn't have so much clutter. There's already enough clutter in here. So, all right, man. So what do we need? Where do we need to start? Where is it telling you to start? So I guess we're starting with artifact pieces. So this is just kind of the roadmap again. I think this here is pretty much just here's for reference. If you don't want to keep flipping back and forth between the pages there.
All right, our video walkthrough.
All right, so
we're watching the video. We just kind of read.
It's up to you. You're kind of the driver here. So what do you feel comfortable with?
We're gonna wing it.
We're gonna wing it.
We're gonna wing it.
All right, we've got some instructions, but we're gonna wing it, and
we're very good at reading instructions.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. So the journey begins. Before starting, it'd be wise to discharge any static buildup in your body so you do not risk damaging components by touching them. To rid yourself of static, touch a metal object that is grounded, i.e. the PC case. So, place your hands upon the case. There you go.
All right, we're good. Didn't shock me.
You're good. All right. While surveying the depths of the Machu Picchu, well done, NZXT. Working the Paki in there. Excellent. While surveying the depths of Machu Picchu, you may find some debris. It's recommended to clear your workspace for building. Have a clear and organized workspace is very important to eliminate potential complications. Keep track of all parts you set aside and what box they came from. Be gentle with your PC parts as they are valuable. Good instructions here. All right, so level one.
I'm just gonna hide that. We don't need that. All right, we need A and B.
We need A and B.
The RAM sticks and the motherboard.
Okay, so here's the motherboard. I'm gonna go ahead and move the GPU. Since we're not gonna need this until closer to the end, I'm gonna move this to the back here.
All right.
And so then that way it kind of keeps a little bit out of the way here. And then B is going to be your RAM. Right, here are your RAM sticks.
All right.
I also have your other parts ready for you. But I
don't want to know what they are yet.
No.
We're not there yet.
I'm not gonna get too far ahead of you, my friend.
All right.
And I am here as your phone a friend.
Okay.
If you have any questions along the way, please don't feel free. Don't ask me anything. I'm not going to help you at all. I'm just going to be the least helpful that I possibly.
Sit there and watch me make mistakes.
I'm going to sit there and watch you ram the RAM in the PCI slot.
Okay. At least it tells me what to do.
Yeah. There you go.
Cables.
Cables, all sorts of little screws and standoffs and all right, so we're gonna organize those over there for now. It's good system. I like it.
Those look all the same. So we're gonna stack them together.
So those are M.2 screws.
Okay.
Those are the screws that are used to hold your NVMe drives into the motherboard. There's a little standoff you'll see on there, and actually in one of the baggies there. That's how you mount the NVMe drive into there. All right, so you're pulling the motherboard out. Excellent, good stuff. There is one little trick in here that I'm just wondering if. All right, it says take your motherboard and place it gently on the box it came in.
On top of the box.
So here's a little fun trick, and I learned this one from Justin Roby, also known as Roby Tech. If you're not following him, you need to make sure you are, because this dude knows his stuff when it comes to PC building, does all kinds of custom builds. I actually owe a lot to Roby for getting me back into building PCs. All right, so one of the things that Roby does when he starts a build is he'll take the insert out of the motherboard box. Since this is kind of like has some natural standoffs on it, you can just we'll move the box aside, and then if you want to pull the motherboard out of the anti-static bag there,
just double check.
it is always good to do that. That is always one of my biggest fears is going and shocking one of the important components. All right, good. Showing some good discipline here with these parts. I'm very impressed so far. Well done, man.
I told you, I've worked with stuff.
Just not this stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So what is it? What's it telling you here about the RAM?
Yeah, it's glaring and I can't see it because I don't have my glasses.
Oh,
on.
gotcha.
So I'm just gonna let you read it.
Okay. It says locate RAM channels 2 and 4. These channels are paired to one another, giving you the most efficient use of your RAM. If labeled differently, check your motherboard manual for clarification. So, there's actually they're usually marked out like from the CPU outward.
Okay.
So
this would be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. So you're going to want to locate channels 2 and 4.
Which would be right here.
Yep. And there should be like a little tab there. So is there any give in that?
Yep.
To be able to snap those out a little bit? Okay, yeah, just very carefully with that. And again, very, very good. Very good. You're not like giving her like an old skidoo there.
Nope, we're not going to break anything.
All right.
Those are solid, those are not.
All right, so now, so we've located the sockets. And it had you go ahead and unhitch those things. Now, you need to orient the RAM. There is a notch that is in each of the RAM sticks and is not center.
Okay.
It's close to the center, but it's just off enough. So you want to go ahead and align each stick into slots 2 and 4, just to make sure that you have them oriented right before you press down on them.
I can set these.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's an anti-static mat that's there. So you're good to do that. That's why it's down there. All right.
All right, so we're looking for the uneven slot, which looks like it goes this way.
All right. Now just line it up with the channel there. And you're going to want to make sure that you're pushing it down evenly on either side until you hear a slight click.
Heard one click.
Okay.
The other side.
Did it click on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Okay. Then that should be fine. It looks like we are. Oh no, this could be. I believe this could be pushed down just slightly more. There you go.
I heard the click.
That's a satisfying sound. All right. So you got one RAM stick in. Let's get the other one in there.
Clicks.
Oh, look at that.
Give it a little pull just to make sure they're not going to come out.
All right. And I'm just going to go ahead and come behind you here just to check it. Well done. Well done. All right. First RAM installation. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So we have the RAM installed. Congratulations. You've leveled up. It says the halls breathe with life. Few souls have made it past this point. As we head into the hall of Machu Picchu, hidden treasures and lost secrets lie before us. Beware of the traps and pitfalls that may delay you throughout your journey into the treasure room. All right, level 2, installing the processor. All right, my friend, I bequeath to you the Intel Core i5-11400F.
That's a lot of words.
It is a lot. It is a lot of words. It's a lot of words for, this is a decent processor.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your next steps tell you? You need the CPU. You need the motherboard. Okay.
Take care.
This is where, yes, this is very, very important that that you're careful with this step. And the reason for that is that on the underside of each CPU, dependent on whether you have an AMD or it's the same whether you have AMD or an Intel platform that you're building with. But there are pins that connect with the CPU. On the AMD, the current AMD chipset or CPUs, the pins are actually located on the CPU themselves. In the Intel builds, they are on the board. Before you go any further, though, let's go ahead and we're gonna look at the next steps here. So we have Intel. Yep. So you're following the blue. You're following the blue path. Okay. So
right here. Okay.
Yep. So this is where things might get a little bit challenging because you said you were struggling a little bit with, you forgot your glasses.
Right.
So a little bit of a problem here. I'll help you out with this because this is kind of a crucial step here.
Okay.
But located in the on the corner of the CPU here is a little silver arrow.
Okay.
And on the CPU socket there's going to be another one. So
right here.
Yep. So what we need to do is go ahead and open the socket. So there's a little arm that's on the side of. Nope. It's right there.
Oh.
So there's a little arm that pulls out and up. It's all right. This is part of the process, my friend. All right. So now you want to flip the lid. Go ahead and flip the lid up. Yep, you can pull that back. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and align the chip here in the socket. This is something that so just to kind of give you a little picture here, and I'm going to hold this up to one of the cameras. So you see the bottom of the CPU chip there.
Yep.
And on the side here, there is a little arrow down in the corner here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to...
The arrow is right here.
Okay, and just double checking. Yep. So we're going to line that up. And now I'm going to allow you the honors of closing it. You don't need to wiggle it around. It's sitting exactly where it needs to be. Now you close that, and this is one of those things that seems so unnatural, but yeah, you're going to go ahead and you're going to pull the arm down, and that plastic cover is going to pop out.
So just keep pushing down.
Yep, just keep pushing down.
All right. Make sure away from the cover.
There you go.
You going?
Yep. Yeah, you want to latch the arm there down where it latched. You may need to pull it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's just not all the way down there.
Okay. It looks like the arm needs to be pulled out that direction a little bit. Oh, that's...
Yeah, that's
okay.
why I said it didn't want to...
Okay.
I didn't want to push down too hard and not line up.
All right.
Oh, so it was already down. We just had to move it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now that we've got the CPU in here,
That was weird.
that was weird.
It was weird.
It was very, very weird to install the CPU. That's to me that's something that's like a little foreign because I built a lot of the AM4, the AMD AM4 socket PCs and so that plastic pop out, like I always want to go in and remove the thing myself, but for whatever reason it's part of the design, and so we're sticking with it.
Well, and the weird one with this one is when we pushed it down, it popped off, but then we had to pull the arm back up for it to fall all the way down.
Yeah. So then that may just be like a manufacturer's thing with this particular motherboard.
Right.
So, but hey, the CPU is locked in. You have ascended another level. All right, so you're on level 3, which is installing the NVMe drive.
And I'm just going to clean this up a little bit
here. Excellent. We may need some of those screws, but now is when we're going to start needing the toolkit.
Got it right here.
All right, so you're going to need the screwdriver handle, and then you're going to need the PH0 bit, which is going to be on the left-hand side underneath the Velcro there, with the cable ties. We have a little explorer in the room who is eager to see what is going on and be a part of the process. He's been doing a good job. Yeah, he's doing a good job. NVMe drive here. Pucky found a hidden SSD. Pucky has found an M.2 NVMe SSD with Windows 10 already pre-installed on the drive. Take your M.2 SSD out of its package. Hold on to the edge of the drive. Okay, so this is actually, I think we're actually getting ahead of ourselves taking the drive out of the package right now, because what we're going to want to do first is uncover the slot that it's going to go into. Okay. This particular motherboard has a couple of different options for M.2 slots. We're going to go underneath this one because this is going to act as a heat sink for the drive itself. And actually, before we do that, I'm going to look at the layout of this in the instructions of the motherboard, because here's the funny thing with some of the motherboards, they share the PCIe lanes will share function with some of the M.2 slots. And so what we want to make sure of is that we don't have a situation where the M.2 slot is being shared with one of the PCI lanes. For example, like your chunky one for your graphics card there, because we don't want to fight for bandwidth. Right. So we're just going to go ahead and check this. Okay, so PCIe 1, that's the 4.0 slot. That's the reinforced slot there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and have you take off the heatsink cover there before installing the drive. So, and usually underneath there's a thermal pad, and that thermal pad will have a sticker on it that you will want to go ahead and take off. By the way, if at any point I am micromanaging your build, you let me know.
Oh no, this is what it's supposed to be like.
All right. Well, what it's supposed to be like is you reading the instructions and watching the video.
Yeah, but you're my instructions.
True.
I mean, the goal is, we're looking at instructions, but talking anybody through it, if they're watching this,
that's very, very true.
They'll have someone teaching them as well.
This is very true. Though I will say I have not watched the videos from NZXT just yet. I will be watching those as we get ready to present this video on MMO and give a little bit of a critique from there. So there is a second screw on there that you're going to need to take out, and it does have that in the instructions there too. So it's showing that for some motherboards, because I imagine what NZXT has done with this, and I think this is probably the case across the board with motherboards and graphics cards, is they don't list the specific model of motherboard or graphics card on the website, because those pieces may fluctuate what they have as far as availability goes. I feel like we kind of lucked out when it came to the graphics card, because while the Asus KO edition isn't necessarily their top of the line, it's still a decent platform. It's an overbuilt AIB card. It is the overclocked edition too, so you're getting a little bit of extra horsepower out of that. So you can't complain there with that. All right, so your two screws are out of the heatsink, so go ahead and remove that from there. And if you want to look in the underside of that, so there is a little strip that's there. Before you peel that off,
wait,
there
we go.
Yeah, before you peel that off, we're going to go ahead and have you install the drive. So we're probably gonna need to install a standoff in here. I am just looking at. Oh no, never mind. We don't need to install a standoff here because it looks like the standoff for the heatsink cover does have a notch in it, so it looks like that'll just naturally hold that into place with the weight of the heatsink, which is not entirely a bad thing, because you're getting contact then with a thermal pad that is on there.
Sweet.
All right, so we are on to the M.2 installation. So now go ahead and remove the drive from the pouch
Played
here.
with a couple things, making sure.
All right.
And it says grab the edge.
Yes, so you want to make sure that you grab the edge of the PC board.
Come on.
Yep, that is the drive. And you're going to want to flip it over, other side.
That way?
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so as you see in the instructions here, you're going to see like the module here is top up. You're going to flip it the other way around because that is going to slip into that socket there. There's a little notch that's in there. Yep. It's all right. There you go. There you go. All right. So now if you just gently push that down, just make sure that that notch lines up.
I'm gonna come back up. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Right.
Yep. Because that's where you're going to take the adhesive off of that heat sink there. Yeah. Or the you're going to take the plastic off of the adhesive there.
All right.
And then you're going to line that up with the. Yeah, I'll take that. You know, line that up with the with your screws there and those and the threads, and that the weight of that should plop down right there on the drive and hold that into place. You did something really, really smart there. And go ahead and keep going. I'm just going to be talking while you're doing this. One of the things that I typically do whenever I'm installing parts, especially if you have multiple mounting points, is instead of tightening down one side, tightening it down all at once, just make sure that it's in place and then kind of go around and make sure everything is evened out as you're tightening things there. And I saw you do that. I imagine that's fairly intuitive from all the work you've done on vehicles.
Yeah.
So
old car trick.
Old car trick. Yeah. So still applicable. All right. So RAM is installed. CPU is installed. SSD is installed.
Finally getting somewhere.
We're getting somewhere. All right. Love to see it. See it.
Skipped a couple steps.
Well, okay. So those steps are in the book. I jumped the gun on that one, but yeah. So those are there. All right. So it is CPU cooler time. So the funny thing when I was doing the unboxing and I saw this cooler here, this was the exact same CPU cooler that came on Ben's pre-built before we installed an AIO on it.
Yep.
And so it was just so funny to pull this out of the box and go, wait a minute, I have one of those in the closet. So yeah, this is the Deep Cools. Why am I doing this?
Here, why
am I doing this?
Here we go.
You're doing the work here, my friend.
We still need this, correct?
This is, yes.
I'm just going to move it over a little bit.
I would go ahead and your those screws that are in pouches, I would go ahead and put those away, along with the SATA cable there. You are not going to need the SATA cable for this.
All right.
So the SATA cable is for your physical hard drives or SATA-based SSDs. NVMe the M.2 NVMe is a much faster protocol because it utilizes the PCI lanes to directly communicate with the CPU. SATA is kind of bottlenecked at I want to say it's somewhere around 600-700 megabytes per second, whereas a drive like that is going to be around 3,000, both read and write.
Wow.
So, and that's not even the fastest among the NVMe's. It's a WD Blue SN550, I believe. Really great drive. We do have a review for that up at mmorpg.com. Solid piece when it comes to NVMe's, and very cost effective too. Usually Western Digital's blue line is going to be your more energy efficient parts, Now green is the more energy efficient, but blue is kind of like the middle of the road. Black is their gamer edition, if you will. We got that chonky boy.
So we will show this to the camera.
Yep, we got that chonky. All right. So what do the instructions say?
About to find out.
We're about to find out.
All
right, a crossroad. You have arrived at a crossroad. Before continuing on through the next steps, check the packaging labels to see whether you have an AIO cooler marked E or an air cooler marked F. If you have an air cooler, skip to page 40 through 49. All right, so those are the next couple of pages here. That is skip pages 40 through 49. Sorry. Aha, installing an air cooler. Again, NZXT, well done on this booklet. This is very nice.
Yep.
It's a very, very nice booklet. How are you feeling so far about the process?
Good. I'm understanding it.
You're understanding it. Okay. Yep. Is there anything so far that's confusing to you, or that could have been maybe the videos would have explained better?
I think the biggest thing is just making sure when you put the what's it called?
The CPU?
The CPU. When putting the CPU into place, that just make sure you know how it works for your motherboard.
Yeah.
Would be the only thing.
Okay. All right. Good critique. Good work so far. All right. So for the air cooler, you're going to need the air cooler. You're going to need the screwdriver handle and the PH2 bit. 2-2.
Let's see. We're at pH 0.
We're at pH 0. I love also this toolkit that came with this because I know for me, I have like 2 or 3 different screwdrivers that I use every time that I go to do my builds, and so having just like one kit that has like all of it in it is so handy, especially if this is something that you're going to make a little bit more of a habit of doing.
Yep.
All right, so what do we got going on here next? Oh, the pictures are adorable. Oh my word, they're so cute. Fantastic.
He's missing his fan.
All right. So we have the choose your own adventure here between the AM4, the AMD AM4 socket, or the Intel LGA 115X socket, which is what we're dealing with on this motherboard here. And so you want to make sure that you have the right parts for this. So that big black part in there is the mounting bracket. So that is along with a couple of those screws there. That's going to be what this is going to mount onto.
We're just going to dump out the contents.
All right. All right, it says firmly press the hexagonal screws into the recesses labeled LGA 115X until they are flush with the back plate.
Just making sure that they were all the same across the board. Needed to be on the inside.
And is it labeled on the actual thing there itself? Okay, yep, okay. Sweet. Love to see the good labeling there. And again, some of this labeling, it may not be on the part of NZXT. For some of these parts, like the coolers, I'm pretty sure that's pretty consistent. It's in the literature online for the kits here. So okay, so we've got that. So
ensure screws are secure.
Yep. All right, so blue side Flip the back plate with all 4 screws over and shake to ensure all the screws are seated secure. All right, we shaking.
We're safe. See? Not as a. Well.
All right, there we go. There we go. All right, pay attention to orientation, mounting the back plate, and the upcoming steps to make sure that your back plate is vertically oriented when attaching. Okay, so now is when you're going to you're gonna line those bolts on the other side of the motherboard. Here you see there are a couple of holes that are there.
Yep.
You're gonna line those up with the screws there. Make sure that your back plate is oriented in the direction it's supposed to be vertical. All right, so you're gonna want to have it like this.
Okay.
So like if your motherboard is standing up, like that would be, I guess, what I would consider to be like always vertically with that. All right, so you're gonna want to make sure that that's mounted vertically. Yep, that's really a good thing to do there, Ben. To kind of line it before you go on the back. Just kind of line it up on the front and just kind of check to see that you've got it. You're lining up with the holes that are on the motherboard there. And now it's just a matter of, let's go ahead and mount this. You can pick that.
Flip it up.
Yeah, you can flip that up. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Like again, you're discharging the static electricity, or what static electricity you might have built up, and you should be fine with that. So now you want to just make sure that those are oriented toward the holes that are there. And again, just be slow, methodical. There you go. And then just slowly lower that down. And if you want to, hold on to the other end of those just to make sure that, I'm just going to move this here just to help.
There we go.
There you go. Just so it's laying down flat.
Perfect.
All right. What's the next step?
Screw the nuts and washers.
Nuts and washers are next. So now, which order do those go in?
Washer first.
There you go.
Washer's always first.
Washer's always first. I wasn't trying to ask you a trick question or anything.
Oh,
I
no.
knew you knew that. I'm teeing you up for success, my friend.
Well, there's sometimes that on other things that you work on that you actually put a washer underneath and on top.
Yep.
So these are only on bottom.
These are only underneath. Now, right now at this stage of the game, we're just putting the bracket in. We're gonna come back to the air cooler. There is actually a note within the book that we're going to be coming back to that. I think part of the reason for that is going to be that the installation of the cooler will likely take place, and I'm making a wild guess here, but I'm going to say we're probably going to do that once the motherboard is in the case. Just to make sure that we're able to orient the motherboard well into the case before we have that big top-heavy behemoth on there. So, but it's looking good so far, man. You're a natural kid.
And with these, just definitely make sure that
you
snug them all first, and then tighten down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just hand tight.
Yep. Go ahead and make them hand tight. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want to like cut into the motherboard. It's really like this is the bracket for the CPU cooler mount. We want to make sure that it has we want to make sure it's going to stay on there, right?
Right. Because this is not it's not a light piece.
No, it's not a light piece, but the tension is going to be really on the brackets.
Right. And that's what the plastic washers are for.
Exactly. You're doing great. All right. So you will resume installing this cooler at a later stage in the build. Keep track of and safely store away all provided screws and materials that have not been used. Okay, so you need to put all the screws that you
back in the bag.
Took out of the baggie into the baggie. What do we have going on next? We are moving into building into the PC case. What? All right. I was having difficulty unboxing the H510 case. Ensure that carrying handles are folded outward. Good pro tip for unboxing a PC case. We're going to make a little bit more room on the table here for the PC case because we're going to need to lay this thing down. Discovering of the H510. You've reached a milestone. The next step of the adventure will be moving your build into the H510 case marked G. Take the H510 out from its packaging and have the motherboard standing by for the next step. All right, so we're gonna have you unscrew the glass panel, unclip it, and remove it.
This is just one.
It is just one, yep. There you go, there you go. There you go. Excellent. And I will go ahead and take that and put it over here for safekeeping. So the rear plate is going to have 2 screws on the side of it there, and they are thumb screws as well. Again, this is one of the reasons why I love the H500 series from NZXT. They are very easy to take apart and put back together. Thumb screws are nice, very open design to work with. And
this is something we haven't mentioned, but it is very good to remember that going left is loose and right is tight.
That is exactly right. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Don't mistake it for tighty whities.
Never heard that. That's pretty good though.
All right, so we have removed the rear panel. We have removed the box of bits, and then we're going to identify the content. So you just want to identify where those things are in box here. So yeah, so that is.
We'll just line it up with this.
Yeah, we have identified the content in the box. Now we need the mounting plate. Yep. And that is going to, you're going to take that out of the packaging there, and you'll notice that there is a ridge on there. So this back plate, this is kind of an interesting thing because depending on the motherboard that you get, some have these, some do not have them. So with this plate, there's a ridge on the other side of this.
Right.
So this actually, when you see the slot that's there,
yes.
This is the I/O shield, and that is going to snap into place in there. So just make sure the orientation is right.
And we do have. Yep.
And one of the ways that you can test the orientation on this plate is if you look at so this is the I/O, or this is the interface here, and so if you were to match that up with there now we
are upside down.
Yeah, we're upside down right now on the desk, but if you were to flip that around like it's going to be naturally in the case, and you line that plate up with the parts on the side, so you're gonna.
That's not right. There we go.
There you go. Okay. And so you're actually you're backwards with that, but the orientation
goes that way.
Yeah, the orientation is that way. Okay. So you're gonna go ahead and fit this in. I hate installing I/O shields. I really do. It's one of my least favorite parts of building. I love it when a motherboard has the I/O shield built right into the motherboard, but you usually find that on higher end motherboards. And you will get some level of snap there with that. Yep, nice click there. Love it. So get to the 4 corners, make sure they're popped in, and you are good to go. All right, locked in and ready to rock. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and it's time to place the motherboards down in the case. It says place the motherboard into the PC case, angling toward the I/O shield. Align the port on the motherboard with the holes, and so the holes in the rear I/O so they fit together. Now, one fun thing with the H510 case, you see in the center here, there is a standoff screw.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a hole in the center of your motherboard. This is yep. So that's right there. So that is a good way to align your motherboard in the case. So So you're going to come at it from an angle there, like the pictures show here, and you'll want to find that that standoff, and just align it from there.
There we go.
All right,
Perfect.
all right. So it's time to find the 632 screws flat, the baggie there, and then you're going to go ahead and usually what I do with this, and it says here, align your motherboard with the middle standoff in the case. The screw hole of the motherboard should align with that inside the case. Use the PH2 bit. Fasten the motherboard to the inside of the case using the round 632 flat screws found in the white box in step G. Depending on the board, some holes may not be used. Go with for me, when I do this, I usually go with the four corners first.
Okay.
Just to make sure that those are secure, and then go from there. The back or the top left-hand corner is always going to be a doozy. It's always going to be the hardest because yeah, you see that? You see that? All right, yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle there. Our lighting could be better in the room too to be able to see in here too. So just know that if you drop a screw in your case, it's almost like dropping a guitar pick into an acoustic guitar.
You never get it back.
You'll get it back. You'll get it back eventually because you don't want it rattling around in there. Yeah, loose metal in a device that you're going to put electricity in is not a good idea, kids. Not a good idea. No, I was gonna say if you do drop a screw, you are in good company because my dear friend and PC building mentor, or I should say my PC building inspiration, Justin Roby, is known for dropping screws. So. All good. He used to have a show called Power Builds when Mixer was a thing, and it was not an uncommon thing for him to knock his entire case of PC screws on the floor during a build. So,
and it is probably good to note that we are using the case or have something that you can put your screws in so
yes.
they don't go flying everywhere. Absolutely.
That is one little tip or trick here that's not listed in here. If you are building, like Ben said, have some type of container that you can put your loose screws into so that you know kind of where they are and you don't accidentally just brush them off the desk or something like that. We're using the CPU cap that was in the motherboard to hold on to those. Typically, I have a little clear container that I have with me, but we're just trying to use everything that's in the box without anything extra to evaluate the experience doing this thing. So now you're doing something very interesting here that's not listed in the book. You're using the smaller of the of the screw tips to get the screws in place, and then coming behind it with the larger screwdriver before you tighten it.
So if you look down and you just put your screwdriver down through there, if you're looking down from the top trying to line it up, the top of the screw is going to be in the way. The screwdriver is going to be in the way.
Okay.
So if you take this, you can see down in the corner.
This guy right here, I'll tell you, first time building a PC, he gets like 3 screws in and he's already a pro. The student has become the master. Look at this. No, good stuff, man. I dig it. So now you are tightening down each one of the corners now?
Correct.
All right.
Before I go anywhere else, just to make sure that everything is lined up.
Excellent.
Because if you get the 4 corners lined up, then everything else
should be lined up. Yep. Very good. Very good tip there. Very good tip there.
There we go. All right.
It's starting to look like a computer, Ben.
It is. It's only taking a couple hours, but
only. That's all right.
We're doing good. We're getting there.
You know, this is a process, and I do want to kind of temper your expectations when you're building here. Take your time, right? Like this isn't a 30-minute process. This is something that you're going to want to take your time with. You're going to want to make sure that you're carefully doing this. Because again, at the end of the day, this is going to be your rig that you're going to be using, or maybe you're building it, with a friend. Maybe you're building this with your kid. This is something that you want to make sure that you take your time on. You don't want to rush it, to make sure that you do it right. Because again, these are components that you're working with, and for some of these components, they're really hard to replace. So, speaking of replacement. Just a reminder, there is a 2-year parts warranty on all of the parts that are in these build kits, which is a pretty sweet thing here. So you are using your cell phone here to give yourself some extra light.
Okay.
There is a little LED light in the toolkit that you can use.
It's little.
It's little guy.
Little. Tell headlamps. Some of my headlamps.
Yeah, you need one of your headlamps to work on this thing.
I was just making sure, because that one isn't.
Doesn't seem to be.
Well,
lighting.
It's there. It's just farther down. You see
Okay.
it?
Yep, I do. And that may be one that, because of the way the motherboard is, that may not be able to line that one up. So it looks like this one is. It looks like these two are. You can use a screw in there.
Yep. And I was just double checking to make sure.
I had a case that I was building in once that the standoff screw was actually stripped. Actually, I think this was your case that I was building in. The truth comes out. The truth comes out. Yeah, I think there was one of the standoff screws in your case, buddy, that I was trying to work with, and I could not for the life of me get a screw in there. And I think it was one of those in either like the side or the middle there. And
well, now I know. And I'm going to take it apart.
Yeah, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
What's all of them?
All right. Case screws in, motherboard installed. We are ready to move on to relocating fans. So this is where we have a little bit of a choose our own path. We choose the path of the air cooler. So we're going to take the fork in the road that's going to lead us directly to page 82. We're going to need the PH2-bit screwdriver, and we're also going to need the PC or the CPU cooler, as well as the case and everything that's installed in the case. Good plan there. Always good to clean up your extra things as you're moving along. Again, if you've got a cluttered workspace, it's easier for things to get lost in the workspace. So this is good discipline here. Good discipline, my friend. All right. So this is where we need to stand the case up and turn the back side of the case toward yourself, because we're going to be removing the fan from the top of the case and moving it to the front. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to follow. There's some cabling that's back here that we want to make sure that we have the ties all unwrapped there, and then that way we can. We've got another bag of goodies in there.
No, the
cables
are wrapped
there
up
we go.
together.
That's all the cabling.
There we go.
Yay!
This is fun stuff.
Yep. All right. So now we've got to trace that cable back to the fan there. And those are Velcro ties there.
Man,
Yep. You're good, buddy. You have literally never seen the inside of this case before. So, so there's a lot of grace, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. So you can go ahead and feed that cable through there. And then we're going to disconnect this fan. And so what it says is hold the top of the fan and remove all 4 of the KB 510 screws holding the fan on top of the case. Gently lower the fan and wire through the case opening before setting it aside. And you were doing the same thing that you did with the PC cooler mounting bracket, except in reverse. And this is again a very, very good trick that's not necessarily mentioned here in the documentation, but again, it's always good to go around, loosen things up as you're removing. If you ever have to remove parts, you always want to go, again, be slow, methodical. Your patience will be rewarded. And I usually go corner to corner with those just to make sure that we are taking things very slowly. All right, so you are removing the screws. Don't eat the screws.
I won't eat the screws.
They are not tasty for
They are
moms.
friends, not food.
Yeah, they are friends. Screws are friends, not food. All right. So we're gonna reuse those here in just a second, because we're gonna leave the fan that's on the back. We're gonna leave that untouched. But now we're gonna go ahead and this is something that I love about the H510 cases. This was, I believe, I'm trying to remember if this was an update or not. I know that in the H510 Elite that there was an update to the front mounting within that case, but there are 2 thumb screws that are right on the inside here, and actually they're tighter than thumb screws right now. Okay. So we're going to need the screwdriver just to notch those things loose right here. There's a bracket. Yeah, there's a bracket that is on the inside. Yeah, those are in there tight. So there's a bracket that's in here that is removable, so that you can take this thing out and actually mount the fan on the bracket outside. You got it?
Let me show you.
Outside of... Okay, so there we go. There we go. So you see here, there's nice bracket here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this fan, which was on the top there, and we're going to mount it on the bottom. And we want to make sure that the wires are going to be facing either up and out or down and out here so that we can run them through the back. My opinion would be down and out. Okay. Just because there are some spots for fan cables on the bottom of this particular motherboard. So if you want to go ahead and do the honors of installing that fan.
It is good to know. Putting metal screws in plastic, make sure you don't go too tight and strip them out.
Yes.
Right.
All right. So before you go ahead and reinstall that, so you want the fan to be on the bottom. So the fan is going to be on the bottom. Yep, like that. And I would go ahead and this is something that they don't necessarily give you a direction for in here. Okay. But go ahead and take the wiring for the fan and run it down. There's a top channel, or the middle channel that's there. You see that opening that's right above that one.
That one?
That one. Yeah, run the cable in through that and just go ahead and feed that through, because then you're going to line up the bracket with those with the holes that are there, and that should not pinch that cable as you're reinstalling the bracket. And then just go ahead and thumb screw that bad boy back in there.
We got the fan installed.
All right, so we got the fan installed. We got the fan moved. Got the bracket reinstalled again. We are moving on to the power supply, my friend.
Right.
All right. So this is going to be your power supply. Here you are, my friend. I'll go ahead and have you start unboxing that. And as I go ahead and read the dramatic things here. We venture deeper. With multiple ancient treasures already discovered, we have to venture deeper into the ancient temple of Machu Picchu for its most coveted treasure. A hall full of ancient visages leads to a room of great power. A power supply lies before you. The number on the box, often the title, indicates the wattage of the PSU. When upgrading parts in the future, please keep note of the amount of power that they consume. In a dimly lit room lies an ancient source of power, a power supply. Locate and take the PSU out of its packaging and take note of the contents of its box. Okay, so this is a non-modular power supply. which again I said in the unboxing video, not altogether surprised at that. A modular power supply is just gonna have, as the name suggests, modular cabling. So you could remove cables from the power supply that you're not using, only utilize the ones you need, or you could do something funky like switch out for colored cabling, which we like doing that around here.
Yeah.
Not that it really affects the performance of your machine, but everybody knows that RGB and colored cables makes things, work better.
They're pretty.
They're pretty. Exactly. All right. So this is telling us for non-modular power supply, we're going to go ahead and skip to page 99.
All right.
So let's go ahead and get this out of the packaging here. And it says that we're going to slide the PSU with the fan facing down. With the power supply, always make sure that it's got ventilation. Always make sure it's pointed outside of the case. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and make sure that ventilation is pointed downward toward the H510 actually has a dust filter on the bottom underneath the PSU. So I'm going to move the CPU cooler here. We're starting to get to the point. That is not how you want to do that, my friend.
I was thinking the opposite way.
That's all right.
Getting ahead of myself.
We're getting slightly ahead of yourself.
Fans down, you need the plug-in at the back.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And so then there are screw holes on the back of this. So we're going to press the PSU right directly against the case there. And then we're going to take 4 of these 632 hexagon screws.
Got
it. And then we're going to go ahead and mount those. Completely move that out of the way. This is actually one of the things that with modular power supplies that I kind of like, because you can plug stuff in later.
Okay.
That you may or may not, or you may need, may not need the cables parts change in your machine. Your needs for power changes as you're swapping parts. I mean, and again, like this is a kit where everything out of the box is specifically curated for this particular build. I do appreciate that they mention in here that if you were swapping parts, to make sure that that your parts are that your power supply is going to be able to keep up with the parts that you have. That's always a good thing. All right, so power supply is installed. It's cable management time! Yay! All right, so this is where we start plugging some things in, and this is where we're gonna go ahead and follow their guide, because cable management is a funny thing. Could you get away without it? Yeah. Is it the sexiest part of building a PC? Yeah. But I will say this though, when it comes to making sure that you keep dust out of components, having your cables managed well, it just makes cleanup a whole lot easier, in my experience anyway. And so the extra time that it takes to manage things is definitely valuable. So, my friend, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you this roadmap here.
All right.
Alrighty, we got the cable management all done. It's turned out all right. We are going to be moving on to installing the CPU cooler. So we're going to go ahead and lay this thing down here, ready to roll here. And again, I'm stepping in to do work here. That's your job to do. All right, so here's this. What you need the air cooler, you need the PH2 bit, you need the screwdriver. And we're going to go ahead and skip ahead here because this is the AIO stuff. Don't need the AIO stuff. Air cooler. So, we're going to locate the cooler block. So that is this yaw. We're going to pull down the metallic clip. Don't worry, if you break it, we have another one in the closet.
Yeah. I don't have another nail in the closet.
Alright, there's some cabling that seems to be
connected. No, it's not. I'm just sitting on it.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Alright, now remove the plastic from the underside of the fan, or the cooling block.
Remove it?
Yep, we'll go ahead and remove that.
Alright.
Fancy. Okay, now for the brackets here, we're going to install the shorter, more curved, the C shape.
Supposed to go on the bottom? Yeah. There we go. That would make a difference.
Wow, then.
Rookie mistakes.
Rookie moves. Alright. Well, you know what? This is why, this is a learning process. Sometimes you figure these things out as you're going. To be fair, though, I didn't look at the parts.
If we actually looked at the book,
if we watched the videos and looked at the book,
we would know.
You might know.
All right, yeah, that goes in a whole lot better.
That's going a lot better.
I'm proud of ourselves.
Love it.
What happens when you work 9 hours?
Yeah.
and
then turn around and try to build a PC.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just how it goes.
All
right. Now it is time to apply the thermal paste. The thermal paste.
I got it hidden over here.
Okay. Thermal paste is not toothpaste. Do not make that mistake. Okay? This is toxic stuff. Do not eat. Do not eat. Don't lick it. It's not tasty. It's not forbidden toothpaste. It is thermal paste. This stuff is toxic stuff. Be careful. You do not want to get this stuff on your skin.
Wear gloves if you're worried about it.
If you're worried about it, wear gloves. It's not going to burn you if you get it on your skin, but you definitely want to make sure you wash your hands. You need like a small pea size blob. Just a small dab, pea-sized dab of thermal paste on the center of the CPU. Yep. Let's see that.
Pea-sized.
You know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty good for first go at it. Usually when I do this, I will keep around a paper towel and some isopropyl alcohol. Because that will. Do you need to go wash your hands?
No, it's not normal.
All right, you didn't get it. Okay, all right. Thought you were like snip. Man, worrying me.
Gotta keep you on your toes.
All right. So we're gonna mount this. We gotta make sure that the logo is right side up, and that we set it down pretty evenly on the CPU there.
Logo is right side up.
Yep. So the idea is that you want to slide it down there about as evenly as possible because the pressure of the heatsink and the tightening down of the heatsink onto the CPU is going to cause that thermal paste to spread around the CPU, offering extra contact between the cooler and the CPU itself. You don't want to move it around too much after you have it set. You want to just kind of set it as straight down as you possibly can. And now comes the business of installing the screws here that will hold it down. And every cooler that you're going to get for your CPU is going to have some different mounting hardware. Some of the all-in-one coolers, or AIOs, like we've talked about here during the build, have some similar mounting brackets. It just really all depends on the style of the pump for that. But typically, like with these, with a specific socket set for your CPU, you're going to have obviously the size is going to be the same, but how those things actually go together maybe slightly. Well, we had a couple issues with getting the CPU cooler in. Again, just some first time dealing with one of these things is always kind of tricky, especially with how the way that some of the screws mount. Yep. and stuff like that. But with our powers combined, we are able to get the CPU cooler installed. We've got there's actually an RGB connection on here as well. And so now it's time to install the Wi-Fi card, which is the last piece that is in the box here. And so this is going to take up one of your PCIe slots. We're going to probably take the one that's on the bottom of the case there. And so what you're going to want to do, Ben, is we're moving along. Wi-Fi card. Okay, locate the bottom PCIe lane. So that's the small one that's at the bottom there. Yep. And so you're going to want to remove the plate that's the metal plate that's on the back there that corresponds with that particular PCI slot. So on the back of the PC case. So there's a slide. So this here, you're going to want to remove. You're going to want to remove this here, and this is going to be a screwdriver. And actually, you can just loosen that enough for this to slide out. So it was another nice addition with this. Yep, slide to the right. All right, and so now you're. When we look at the lane here, so here's the lane right in here. Okay. And so the corresponding slot is actually going to be the second one from the bottom here. Okay. That we're going to want to go ahead and remove. And there's just a little screw that's right here that is holding that in place. This is fine. This is fine. All right, so now you're going to want to take that card, and you're going to want to socket that into the PCI lane, and then that'll push right in there, and then you'll use that screw to secure that in. And one of the things I forgot to tell you before that is, so there's a USB connection on the back side of that card. Okay. That we did not hook up. Just right there. Yep, it's right there. And so one end goes here, right? And then you'll see right down here. There's where's our little light there? Right here. So you can go ahead and socket that in to there. There you go. And then if you want to feed those cables out the back, then we can tie those up real nice afterward. So we have the Wi-Fi card installed. It is now time for the GPU, which means we can go ahead and lay the case down. Would you like the honors of opening it up?
I do.
Some space there. All right, what do we got? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Look at that. Look at that.
Nice and shiny.
Shiny.
It actually is shiny.
It is. It really, really is. You found a new artifact. You come into a large chamber with an ancient GPU hanging high above the pathway. You will need to solve the ancient puzzle and properly seat the GPU if you want to proceed to the next room. But be careful, the GPU appears to be very rare and valuable treasure. If that ain't the truth. Ooh. All right, so I do appreciate that this is very securely packaged within this box. They do give you some unpacking steps with this.
Oh, we're on the wrong side. This is the unpacking step.
All right. And it's meant to slide out in case you need to reuse this.
Return it.
Yeah. Which,
well,
we don't know a thing or two about DOA GPUs, do we?
No.
We won't talk about that.
No.
All right.
We didn't have any issues.
No. All right. So one of the steps that is not in here is that, and this is something with a lot of modern GPUs, especially when they're coming from add-in board partners, is there's a lot of extra plastic, and this is always satisfying. It's always satisfying to remove all of the protective plastic. You know what? I'm sorry, my friend. I'm totally taking the joy of doing this because this is just one of the most satisfying feelings in the world when it comes to getting new parts, especially new GPUs, is removing all of the fun. And look at this thing. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful graphics card. Like I said, you know, I may have overreacted a little bit when I saw this in the box, but I'm not really, no, I'm not. I didn't overreact. I think I adequately reacted.
That's a good reaction
to that, because this is really a very, very well built GPU. At least from the outside, you know, we've got some nice things that are going on here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove all of the. These are just little protective plastic parts, just to make sure that things kind of stay good in transit. We're going to want to lay the case flat to install the GPU here. All right, so now it says we need to locate the topmost PCIe lane, so that's that one. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove, like we did, I think that it's two down. It's the two that are down from that.
There's one. And we can always put one back.
And we can always put one back. Yep. But I think, though, there you go. And then would you like to do the honors?
I would, because I have never done
You have never done this before. All right, I'm going to come to the other side of you here, though, because I'm going to hold this part up for you so you can make sure that is... Oh, hold on. We forgot one thing. Pull that back out a second. Woo!
Always check.
Yep. I think we got everything else, so...
I have faith in your unpacking ability.
I appreciate that. All right, so we just need to make sure that it's lined up, and yeah, just even it up with the PCI slot there, and you're going to want to go straight down with it. And just like the RAM, there's going to be a little bit of a click when you press down on the socket. There you go. There's the click.
Nice click.
There's the click. You love to hear it. All right. So let's go ahead and tighten in those screws. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, there. I'm just slid.
Yeah. Not breaking anything tonight. Give him my nickname. We're not breaking anything tonight.
Yeah, we don't want to tell people that his nickname is Ben the Destroyer. Well, among other nicknames.
Yeah.
All right, we are putting some finishing touches on GPU. Now it just needs to be plugged in. So we pulled those cables through already, and so you can go ahead.
No matter which one.
I would go ahead and use this one.
Okay.
The clips are going to be facing up top there. Now, depending on the GPU that you get, some of these, at least from the instructions here, may have a Founders Edition card. The Founders Edition does have a special 12-pin connector. We're going to go ahead and we'll zip tie that down to itself, so that actually we've got a handy-dandy little tie right here that we'll go ahead and use just to ensure that stays put and stays good. This is a really, really fun touch that they included here. There's a little like trading card for the GPU. It's just a funny. That's hilarious. I've never seen that before. Last thing to do is put the case back together. All right. So there's actually like a couple of clips that are up here.
Yep.
Okay.
I was just trying to line them up and it fell off the bottom on me.
All right. So we have one final piece here, Ben. We are just about done. And so we've got two things left to do. First is reinstall the tempered glass panel.
Alright.
So you're just going to go bottom in first. And then remember, it has the two tabs up at the top that you can just push in on those. And then you get the thumb screw in the back there. And that's it. There's one thing left to do, okay? And so this is where we're gonna pull this table back just a hair, and I'm gonna have you turn around here because it's your turn. It's your turn to experience one of the most satisfying.
I got it.
You got it?
I got it.
You got it? You ready? You ready for the peel?
We'll do it nice.
All right,
and slow.
here we go. It's the peel. This is one of the most satisfying parts here, friends. All right. Now, really, the only thing that's left to do is to fire this up, and then we'll go ahead and take it from there. All right, Ben. We have officially created a mess here, but in the process of creating a mess, we have also built a PC together. And actually, you've done the majority of the work of building the PC. Tell me a little bit of your experience doing this with the directions from NZXT.
Everything was very well laid out. I mean, when looking at it, I mean, as long as you look at the book first and then attempt to do the steps, you're in good shape. But if you kind of rush through it, not rush through it, but if you kind of like, well, we're going to try it and then look at the directions, you know.
Yeah,
you'll go back and look at the directions eventually.
Yeah, we had a couple of times going through this that he did skip ahead with some of the directions. But was that scary at all to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you think about you're messing with components that are expensive.
Okay,
I mean, they're not, it's not something that you can, run down the street and grab right now with everything going on. So It's like, you want to make sure that you don't push something in too hard and break it, or you're not bending the motherboard too much when you're putting the fan cooler in, with a couple of the little things that we ran into. Sure.
So with that in mind, with the instructions, did you feel like that took away some of the fear, or did it take away some of the fear, or did it give you a better perspective on what you were doing?
I think it gave me a better perspective of what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Exactly. Making sure that, don't bend the pins.
Sure.
Just little things like that you just do.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Well, let me ask you the final question. Do you think that you would ever build a PC again?
Yes.
Absolutely. Love to hear that. Friends, thank you so much for joining us here at MMORPG.com. My name is Damien. Again, we're going to have a write-up that's going to go along with this video to just walk through some of the pricing of the parts, and I'm going to share a little bit of my thoughts about the value of stuff like this. Just right out of the gate, I'll tell you, looking down through PC Part Picker, looking at each of the individual components, it is a little bit challenging to put a dollar value on the GPU right now because of the current state of the market. But when you look part for part, what NZXT has curated here is actually a really, really solid deal if you're looking at an introductory PC. But I look forward so much to sharing more with you about the NZXT Starter Pro build kit. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. I know it's been a long one, but I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.